So the next criteria we want to look at is original contribution of major significance. This is actually one of the criteria that it can pick your profile or your application to the next level. So if you can have it, it is something I really encourage. And a lot of strong EB1 cases always have it. It doesn't mean if you don't have it that there's something wrong. But it is just a single criteria that if you have it, you can use it in every other ones. That it's kind of spread because you have an original contribution of major significance. So let us look at the details of what this criteria mean. So what I really want to first of all point out is that this criteria on original contribution of major significance, it has two parts that you need to meet. Number one is that contribution needs to be original. Then number two is that the contribution needs to be what? Of original significance. So there's a contribution can be original, but it doesn't have major significance. And something can have major significance and it is not original. Maybe a lot of people have done it, so it is not it's nothing new. So if you have an original contribution of major significance, then it is good. A lot of people always think that this criteria usually relates to having scholarly articles. Maybe you are a researcher and you have discovered something, made a scientific contribution that is major significance. This is very good. This is one of those things people usually use. Or maybe they have a patent. So if your research work got patented or your engineering work got patented, so it usually qualifies under this criteria. Or you have a scholarly article that has a lot of citations and has an attention of the scientific or the research community or your professional community, then it usually works very well. But your contribution does not need to be research related before you can qualify. What are those kind of other things that may qualify? For example, if you're a software developer and you've written a library or you have an open source software, an API or anything that you have made contribution to and others are using their work, that can qualify as an original contribution of major significance. If you work in a place, in an organization, maybe you're a product manager, you do something and you contribute something about the product, about a particular feature that helps people or that solves a particular problem, that can be an original contribution of major significance. So those kind of things, I mean, you really need to be thoughtful about it. So you're a business person, you have a business model you use, and that helps companies to remain profitable. Those kind of things can be. So it's really how you think about it. You contribute to some tax law, some finance law, some business laws, some policy. You write policy manual, documents, white papers, and these things are eventually implemented and adopted by organizations and companies. These are the kind of things that also can qualify under this thing. So it doesn't have to be scientific alone. It can be scholarly, it can be artistic, it can be athletic, it can be business related. So what really matters is it original and is it of major significance? So how do you prove it is original? You need to tell us how it is original. You understand your work. And that is why one thing about EB1A, and even if it is not EB1A, EB29W, it allows you to have a deep thoughts. You need to have a deep thoughts. It starts from you understanding your work and the contribution of your work, even if you are not yet popular. So think about it. Okay, is this work original? Then is it of major significance? Do you have some citations? Are other people using your work? So if other people are using your work, you can reach out to those people, get letters from them, and let them talk about how your work has been of major significance. So another thing that could qualify is, did you pioneer a program? Maybe you started a STEM competition. So that is an origin. And that STEM competition, every year, what you use it to do, you use it to promote STEM education, that underrepresented groups, minority groups, or not, even if they are not underrepresented, basically that improves, that encourages people to go into STEM or whatever field they want to go into. And They do it every year. It attract attention of media, of people, of different schools and those kind of things. It depends on how you tell the story. It can qualify as an original contribution of major significance. Did you start something and you are the first person to do it? And that thing has now expanded globally. And it's making people get jobs, people earn a living, people enter the university, people becoming scholars, and those kind of things, solving people's social problems. It can qualify as an original contribution of major singer. Are you a chef, for example? Let's assume you're a chef. Do you have a recipe that you've made? That recipe, that it's something that people can use and eat, and they can use to solve their weight loss problem, for example, or obesity problem, or you understand those kind of things. And people are using it. Restaurants are using it. Then it can qualify as an original contribution of major significance. Okay, so it's all, I'm just giving you ideas. So that you don't need to be a scientist alone before you meet this criteria. So now let us look at how do you present the evidence. So how do you present the evidence? One of those ways you can present the evidence is that do you have media coverage about the work? Do you have patents, licenses? These are the kind of evidences. Even before we come to how to present them, what are the kind of evidences you need? Media coverage, patents, licenses, invention evidence, statistics regarding usage of your work, contract about your work, licensed technology, all these kind of things, research articles and publications. These are the kind of evidences that are. So if you publish your work, you have a Google Scholar page, and with the citation, these are evidences. So do you have testimonials from clients? Maybe you're a business person, or you're a lawyer, or an attorney, you are a finance specialist. Do you have testimonial from clients about maybe the business model you made, or you are a policymaker, and do you have testimonials? Do you have expert letters of people that have actually used your work and benefited from your work? So there are different ways. For example, we have PhD candidates, people that are doing research, for example. Maybe they've not yet graduated, but they've made an impact that they are collaborating and other people are using something they did. Maybe that thing they did is not yet popular and is only within some research schools and some research labs. You can get letters from those people, let them talk about the fact that, okay, you did this thing, they are using your work, they are able to publish so paper because of your work. So to present the evidence, you need to give us an introduction of your contribution in terms of give us the context. What is that contribution? Remember, you need to eat two things in this when you present your evidence. You need to, first of all, prove to us that your contribution is original. So after you have told us, you've mentioned the contribution, explain to us how it is original. Then the next step is you want to explain to us how it is a major significance. So you need to give an overview of the contribution, the originality, the development process. So what is the impact in the field? That is the major significance. So what is the adoption, the influence? Do you have any quantifiable impact you can point to, like metrics? So citation record is one of them. But again, there are cases where USCIS give RFE. They say that, okay, a high citation does not automatically mean that it's something is of major significance. So you don't just limit to it. It's part of the evidence you can use, but you need to also explain that work and get letters from people so that it can be richer. The richer what? The better. Okay. So then, do you have awards? Do you have letters of support? So let's assume you have an original contribution of major significance, and you later got an award for it, which makes you qualify for one of the award criteria we first of all talked about. You can bring it again to show that this contribution was original. I even got an award for it. So you can see, you can do just one thing, and it can eat two. You can use it to kill two birds, one stone, to eat two birds. You understand? So just based on on one of those things that you have done. So letters of support are also very good in this case. So other areas you can use as how to present your evidence is publications and patents, media coverage about your work. And then you need to summarize the contribution in terms you are connected to the EB1A criteria and show that, okay, for me to have made this kind of contribution to this field, it really shows that you are an expert in the field and you are rising to the top of your field. So irrespective of the field you are, start thinking about something you can do if you have not done something yet. So for example, if you are a machine learning engineer, a data scientist, can you write a library that people can use? Can you make an improvement to some existing libraries, some existing machine learning algorithms, linear regression, different kind of things? So those are the kind of things you can do. So what are some important questions you can ask yourself in this criteria so that you can be able to really know how to present it? One of those questions is, what documentation process do you possess that demonstrates you have original contribution? So ask yourself, is it scholarly articles? Is it a patent? Is it whatever? Just ask yourself. So then ask yourself, are those contributions of major significance? Then ask yourself again, have those contributions been used by others in the field? Then ask yourself, what degree of influence and standing do you have within the field? Are other people advancing your field because of your contributions? So ask yourself, maybe you've done something and other people are advancing it. So did you discover something new? Advance a theory and technology or contribute in another way? How useful are these contributions? Have others benefited financially from your work? If they have, how? Who? And where are they geographically located? If you can bring all these things, it's going to make your case a little bit stronger. More stronger, not even a little bit. So what are those common reasons people get RFE? Failure to demonstrate original contribution. That's number one. Or failure to demonstrate the contribution is of major significance. What are the common reasons for RFE? One of them is that you fail to demonstrate original contribution or major significance. It is as simple as that. So the very common reason is maybe you showed they accepted that it is major significance, but it is not original, or whether it is original but not major significance. So you need to it's the two. Then you don't have an evidence of your work that you did not present enough detailed evidence. Then there are no citation records. For example, you have not sufficiently showed citation records or compare it with others. So for example, if you have citation records, it's not just enough to present that citation records. You can, if you have an assessment that shows that, okay, people in my field, this is the average people usually get, and you have something higher, then it will be a good thing to show. You understand? So it is actually about comparison with other people in your field. So, and it all boils down to your acclaim. For example, I've seen a high school teacher got approved for AB1 because the high school teacher now is claiming to be an extraordinary STEM teacher. You understand? So, which means the comparison is with other high school teachers. But if you are a scientist or a machine learning engineer, a biochemist, then the comparison is with other biochemists. If you are claiming to be an extraordinary CTO, software developer, for example, comparison is with other software developers. So you get my point. So if you're able to compare with others that, okay, based on these things I've achieved, based on my acclaimed expertise, I've risen to the top of my field. So that is that about original contribution of major significance. So think about the things you've done. Think about those things you can do that can actually propel your case to the moon. So thank you. That's that about original contribution of major significance.